Hi, and welcome to Positively Sparking, podcasts on internet marketing, online business, entrepreneurship, and digital living. Today, I'm with Neil Henry, Director of Positive Sparks, and we're going to be sharing our top online advertising insights for the month of October. So, hey Neil, how are you?
Good morning, Phil. Yes, I am very well, thank you. How are you?
It's pretty good. It's a beautiful day in Cornwall. What's it like up north?
Yeah, not bad at all. Very nice.
Good stuff. It's October now, so we're into our podcast that we do every month now, where we go into our favourite insights for online advertising and pay-per-click marketing for the month ahead. So as the nights are getting darker, Neil, what have you been doing with that darkness? What have you been doing on your computer in the evening?
Various things. Running campaigns. Well, it never stops, I suppose. Running campaigns. Building websites, playing tennis. That's probably my social.
And that's not on a computer, isn't it? Just to clarify.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Great stuff. And what's your first insight with all that time you've been spending on your laptop? What's your first insight that you want to share today?
Well, there are a few fascinating stats that I think we are seeing signals from the campaigns that we run, and I certainly see within the industry at large, and it's all around the power of mobile, and the fact that now mobile devices account for, the stat is 53% of all paid search clicks. So anybody doing any kind of advertising campaigns must have their ads built, any kind of PPC built for the mobile device. We've said this a lot. We've said it throughout the summer, so it's kind of a broken record. But then just to elaborate on those stats further, of those mobile statistics, it's quite fascinating that I've found that 64% of people searching PPC use smartphones, and only 36 are on a tablet. Now, I find that quite bizarre. I use a mini iPad all the time. My wife's using an iPad. But so I suppose it's just saying, though, the flow of what people are doing in any walk of life at any moment in time, because of the power of the smartphone, they now have the ability to do it anywhere, anytime, anyhow, using that device. And the power of that device is elevating people's abilities to go online and see on a search the ads at the top, being very savvy to what they need, which I think is testament to how certainly Google works. I would say any industry that is trying to do any kind of ad campaign, to have 64% of the market using smartphones to click is quite a fascinating stat. On top of that, the final thing I suppose to say on top of that is that of all of those statistics, I don't want to bamboozle with too many stats, but 95% of all PPC online advertising search traffic comes through Google. That's 95%. Huge.
A massive amount, isn't it?
Yep.
And some of those stats you mentioned there were incredible. So 53% of all kind of paid ad clicks come on phones. Huge stat. I wonder if that's the first time it's gone above 50%. Just a curiosity. It is.
It is. In 2014, it was about 35. So it's gone, gone up significantly in the last year and 18 months.
And perhaps a lot of that is down to the smartphones becoming easier to use and, more simple to search the web with. It's maybe also down to the accessibility of Wi-Fi and 4G. And the fact that we spend a lot of time waiting in life. We're on the bus or in a queue or whatever it might
absolutely.
be. And whenever that happens nowadays, everybody gets the phone out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's one question I would ask you. The first thing, obviously, instant gratification is a huge thing. We have the ability now instantly to get what we need. But let me ask you this question, because this is how I would see it. Any kind of ad that you saw, certainly on Google, top of search, when they've now taken organic results further and further down the page, think how poorly ads cater to your searching needs even 2 or 3 years ago. Because certainly in my experience, I used to scroll down past ads all the time. Now, any kind of ad usually hits the brief, which means the top of the search on my smartphone, where real estate is so priceless and small, is catering to my needs.
It's a great point. It really is a great point. And I think we especially see that in Facebook, which is so clever in the way it will target things to us. As you know, I was in Bordeaux over the weekend. Great city. Now, Facebook is trying to sell me Bordeaux wines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. I didn't put anything on Facebook about my trip. But somehow that connection's been made. Probably because I was looking at Bordeaux tourism sites.
The power of cookies.
Yeah, the power of cookies, indeed. Different kind of cookie to when we were kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the kind of cookie that does annoy my wife. She does that all the time, looking at holidays, and then all of a sudden, Monarch Airlines has got an advert for her to book flights. And it's literally, as soon as she goes from one tab, where she'll be on eBookers, let's say, another tab, she'll refresh Facebook, and bang, they're there. I mean, I'm going to talk about ads and ad types later on in this discussion, but I think, like you say, it's so important to have any kind of campaign that is targeting the right person at the right time with the right offer. And that is how these campaigns now enable people to get what they want, how they want, on the device of choice they want. And that's why mobile is now taking precedent.
Amazing stuff. One stat you mentioned there, which you also said surprised you, it also surprised me, about the difference between smartphone and tablet. And I'm just trying to think of reasons why that might be the case.
I might have one, and I know that cross-device decision making now is becoming more and more prevalent, and that's because, I mean, I've got a big desktop with a 23-inch monitor. I've got a laptop. I've got an iPad. I've got a smartphone, and they say that cross-device decision-making, purchasing by people is now becoming more significantly. I don't know the exact stat. I think it's about 20% of people will click on an ad on one device, usually a smartphone or an iPad, but obviously with these stats, it looks like it's smartphones, and then make the purchase on a device they are potentially more comfortable and feel is more secure with. And so that cross-device type of researching, decision-making process that is personal to them, I can see that being a reason why the smartphone is getting a lot more clicks and a lot more interactions, because it's the first port of call you make. And then you might make a decision or a purchase or further research on another device. But the smartphone, the 64% smartphone stat, is the thing that's getting the first interaction with that company.
Interesting. I know one thing.
Perception.
Yeah, perhaps so. I know one thing I find I do is I kind of save my tablet for fun stuff. So I'll watch my films on the tablet, or I tend not to do any work on the tablet because I have my laptop and, smartphone when I'm out. So I wonder if other people do the same, or is it just me?
Well, I think you're one of a kind.
No doubt.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to hedge my bets. I would say that, I mean, all of my devices are connected to everything. You tell me all the time I need to put certain devices down from being able to interrupt the pleasurable parts of my life and not have it interrupt me in what I'm doing. However, every device is connected, for example, to Gmail or to AdWords or to Webmaster Tools or whatever it may be. I have work mode on every device. So for that very reason, I also have play mode on every device. And I suppose that's where this cross-device comfort level that people have comes into play, because people are happy making decisions, doing things on all sorts of different devices. But the fact that everyone can do things on the go with a very, very savvy smartphone these days enables them to do so much more than they've ever done before.
Very true. Okay, so moving on from what you've been talking about there, those excellent points on smartphones and mobile traffic, I'm going to take it a little bit into seasonality, which I know you also want to discuss.
Yep.
So one great positive about online advertising is we can chop and change what we promote very quickly. And a great industry to look at how this is done is the car industry. So right now in October, November, everyone begins to think about getting their car ready for winter. If you live up north like you do, Neil, you might get some new tyres for the winter. I don't know if you do that. Lots of people do. But you'll certainly look at making sure you have your antifreeze in there, probably getting the service, all those things to make sure that if it does snow, that we have a chance of getting to wherever we want to go to. So, the car industry is very good at chopping and changing what they promote dependent on the time of year. So when our new regs come out in August, it's twice a year now, isn't it? They focus everything on that, and at this time of year it's more about winter protection. So all those differences mean that for them, online advertising is a must, because they can chop and change what they promote, the promos they offer instantly. If we were to try and do the same thing organically, it's very difficult, because we need time to push our SEO to the point where it's making us rank. So what do you think of that, Neil? Tell us a little bit more about your thoughts on seasonality.
I think that's a very good example you give, because it ties in beautifully to the 4 examples I've got around that exact point of seasonality in building online advertising. The first one would be for any kind of tradesman of any kind, whether you're localized or a little bit more regional. Anybody who's in a trade, such as plumber, plasterer, painter, decorator, thinking about the types of internal jobs and internal issues that people will have based on the cold weather months. So a plasterer would run a campaign which would be around internal jobs, internal rendering, internal fixtures and fittings. The same would be the case for any kind of painter and decorator, electrician. A very good one also would be any kind of boiler breakdown for a plumber. It's such a significantly higher stat that boilers are breaking down during these months when they're trying to crank out as much as they can, that any kind of ad campaign for that seasonal element of a tradesman, internal jobs, is an absolute must as we come into these periods of time. Now, the second one would be e-commerce. And e-commerce is such a huge area. We could talk about Christmas and the seasonality of getting your products and your offers and your promotions in order for the Christmas period. But actually to get ahead of the march, ahead of the stampede at that Christmas time, when the real estate on a search is going to be so much more competitive, whatever your e-commerce product or service, think about how you can say to people, well, get your prezzies early and then relax in December. So the power of marketing, the psychology of marketing around helping people relax into the Christmas period as opposed to it being a stampede would be huge for any kind of tailored campaign around the seasonality of getting your presents, your ducks in a row for Christmas. Another one would be, for example, in any kind of technology, software, IT industry, downtime and staff shortages are significantly higher during the colder months. Downtime because of issues with server breakdowns, hardware issues, and then staff shortages because people are off for whatever reason, sickness, absence. And so making sure that you've got any kind of online advertising campaign that's tailored to the personal issues that a company will face and sees at that time of year would be crucial to try to make sure that not just your brand is in the mind's eye, but also you are catering to the specific needs, personal issues and conflicts they will have as an organization, or anybody that's actually making a purchase decision based on the troubles, the concerns, the issues they're going to have coming up in the next month or so.
Totally. And those great points you mentioned there, just tell us how important it is to have a marketing calendar. And really what a marketing calendar is anticipating the thoughts that your customers have at different times of year. So for the first time in quite a few months, I am thinking about buying wood. I wasn't thinking about this a month ago. And that's because it's getting colder and I want to build nice fires and all those things. So we go through the same thoughts every year, whether we like it or not. Of course, we have other great thoughts too, but we have regular annual thoughts at specific times of year.
So if you are now, at this point in time, because it's only got cooler in the last week or so, you're now thinking of that situation. Anybody that's, for example, within that type of industry, selling wood, or as we said, a tradesman, needs to be ahead of the game. So that schedule, that calendar you have, they really should be thinking of these kind of issues people are going to have in October to get a campaign together